Let me ask you this. Have you ever shared a great idea in a meeting and felt like no one really heard you? Or tried to connect with someone at work, in a friendship, even in your family, but felt like your presence just didn't land? Or maybe you've watched others effortlessly gain respect and influence, leaving you wondering, what am I doing wrong? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. I've been there too. And I know how frustrating it can be when you're doing the best you can to show up, but somehow you're still not making the impact you know you're capable of making. But here's the good news. Influence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. And you don't need a fancy title or a loud voice to be influential. You just need the right skills. If you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Elizabeth, former United Nations Senior Advisor and the author of the book Human Skill. Today, I'm sharing 5 key changes I made that helped me become more influential, not just in my career, but in the way that I connect with others, in how people respond to me, and in how I lead. These shifts are grounded in my experience as a humanitarian working across the world, from grassroots communities to global boardrooms where I've engaged with world leaders and Fortune 500 CEOs. And of course, the insights I share in my book, Human Skills, The Power to Connect. Let's get into it. Change 1. Follow through on what you say you will do. Let's start with something that sounds very basic, but is actually a huge part of being influential. Doing what you say you're going to do. Now, I know that life gets busy. We overcommit, we forget, we tell ourselves, oh, it's just a small thing, I'll get to it later. But here's the truth I've learned, especially in my work leading teams and working in communities across the world. Trust is built, or indeed broken, through consistency. Influence doesn't come from the grand gestures. It comes from small moments of reliability. When you say you follow up and you actually do it. When you promise to show up and you are there on time, prepared, and present. When you hold yourself accountable to the same standards that you expect from others. One of the most powerful ways to show people they matter is simply by keeping your word. It signals respect. It builds credibility, and over time, it's what makes people see you as someone they can count on, which, by the way, is at the heart of being influential. So here's one small shift you can start today. Only say yes to what you can truly commit to. And when you say yes, follow through, no matter how small it may seem. It might not feel flashy, but this kind of integrity, people notice. And it's one of the most quietest but most powerful ways to build lasting influence. Change 2. Provide value to others. Have you ever wanted to speak up, share an idea, or help someone but just held back because you thought, who am I to say this? Or maybe you've had the urge to start something, a blog, a side project, a YouTube channel, but that fear crept in of saying, oh, what if no one cares? Or what if I don't know enough? What if I mess up? Trust me, I know I've been there. In fact, starting this very YouTube channel was one of those moments for me. I questioned myself. I worried about whether my voice could matter in a sea of content. But then I remember something I've learned throughout my more than 2 decades of experience and something I share in my book, Human Skills, that you don't need a fancy job title to be influential. You just need to be passionate about learning something and providing value to others. Because influence, it doesn't start by demanding attention. It starts by offering value. That could mean mentoring someone at work or launching a social initiative. It could even be as simple as lifting someone up online, sharing something useful you've learned, posting a tip that has helped you that could help someone else, starting a conversation that invites others in, just like I and we are all doing here on this channel. And yes, it can feel vulnerable. Sharing your voice, your ideas, your experience, it takes courage. But here's what I know to be true. There's someone out there who needs exactly what you have to offer. It might not change the world, but it could certainly change someone's world. So here's the mindset shift that changed everything for me. Instead of asking, who am I to say anything? Start asking, how can I be of value? Whether it's your time, your knowledge, your support, or even just your encouragement, showing up to serve first builds connection, credibility, and real influence. So start where you are. Use what you have. Offer what you can. It matters more than you know. Change 3, communicate clearly and concisely. Have you ever explained something to someone and halfway through their eyes just glaze over? Or maybe you've shared a story you thought, oh, this one is so powerful, but somehow it didn't land the way you hoped. Or, and actually this one is more common, you've been in a meeting and someone uses this huge big words that by the end, nobody actually has any idea what it is that they were trying to communicate. Well, to paraphrase Maya Angelou, people don't remember everything you say, but trust me, they remember how you make them feel. And I would even add, actually, they remember what they understood clearly. And in today's noisy, fast-paced world, clarity is power. And one of the biggest shifts I made in becoming more influential was learning how to communicate with purpose, to say what I mean in ways that others not only can hear, but can also feel and act on. Now, whether you are giving a presentation, pitching an idea, or just trying to get through to a loved one, clear, concise, and compelling communication is everything. Now, this doesn't mean dumbing things down. It means being intentional. Here are a few things that helped me. Number 1, just start with one clear point. What's the one thing you want them to remember? And then build around that. Number 2, just cut the fluff. If it doesn't add meaning, emotion, or value, just let it go. Number 3, use stories to make it real. People connect with people. Tell a quick story. Give example. Paint a picture. Honestly, one of the best ways I learned this was by watching TED Talks. Have you noticed how the best speakers on the stage don't use any fancy language? They use human stories, real emotions, simple truth. They speak in a way that lands, and that's what influence sounds like. So if you want to improve your communication, which by the way is a core human skill, here's what I suggest. Pick a TED Talk that moved you, watch it again, but this time focus on the structure. How did the speaker open? What details did they include? How did they bring it all home? Then practice with your own message. Whether it's an email, a panel talk, or a one-on-one conversation, just ask yourself the following. Is this clear? Is this concise? Is this connecting? Great communicators aren't born, remember? They are built. And when you become someone who speaks with clarity, people naturally start to listen and you become influential. Change 4, practice empathy in every interaction. Have you ever been in a conversation where someone totally missed the point of what you were trying to say? And instead of listening, they jump straight to advice or judgment. Or maybe you've been that person, because I know I have. The truth is, most of us are so used to reacting, we forget to relate. And yet empathy, which is another core human skill, is one of the most powerful tools we have when it comes to building influence and trust. It's the skill that allows people to feel seen, heard, and understood. And that feeling, that's where true connection begins. Because here's the thing about empathy. It's not just about being nice, it's about being present, being curious, willing to set aside your assumptions and see the world through someone else's eyes, even if it's just for a moment. One of the best shifts I made was this. Instead of jumping in with, I know how you feel, I started asking, can you tell me more about what that was like for you? Instead of assuming someone's reaction was about me, I started wondering, what might they be carrying right now that I don't see? That simple mindset shift changes the entire energy of a conversation. Empathy doesn't mean you have to agree with someone. It just means you care enough to try to understand their experience. And in a world where everyone is fighting to be heard, just taking the time to listen with compassion, that's rare and incredibly influential. So here's something you can try this week. The next time someone opens up to you, pause for a second before responding. Instead of offering a solution or an opinion, just say, that sounds really tough. I'm glad you shared it with me. And then ask a question, not to fix, but to understand. You'll be amazed at how walls come down when people feel emotionally safe with you. Empathy isn't soft, it's strong. And when you lead with it, people remember how you made them feel. And that's not just human, it's very powerful. Change 5. Invest in long-term relationships, not quick wins. Have you ever had a conversation when you felt like someone was only talking to you because they wanted something? Maybe it was that colleague who only reaches out when they need help with a project, or the friend who only shows up when they need a favor from you. It's a pattern we all recognize, right? People often go for the quick win, the fast fix. But here's the thing. Real influence and trust doesn't come from short-term gains. They come from building deep, meaningful relationships over time. I learned this lesson the hard way, by the way, especially in my work as a humanitarian, because in many communities, it's easy to focus on immediate impact, but lasting change. Now, that comes when you invest in people. And the same principles applies to any relationship, whether it's personal or professional or social. Quick wins might give you a temporary boost, but they often lack the depth that can leave others feeling used. It's those long-term consistent connections that truly build influence. And here's a shift I made that really changed the game for me. Instead of seeking to get something from someone, I started focusing on how I could give to them without expecting anything in return. I moved from transactional relationship to genuinely investing in people's success, helping them grow, being there for them through tough times, and showing up consistently. I know it sounds simple, but the difference is huge. So here's a change you can start implementing starting today, right? Instead of asking, what's in it for me? Just ask, how can I be of value to this person long term? Instead of reaching out only when you need something, show up regularly. Be there for others through support, encouragement, or simply listening. Think of all this like planting seeds. These relationships may not pay off immediately, but they grow and strengthen over time. And here's the magic. When you start investing in others without the pressure of getting something back, you build a network of trust, loyalty, and real connection that lasts far beyond any quick win. You start to see your influence grow in a way that's sustainable and meaningful. So ask yourself, what relationships can I invest more in starting today? Where can I go beyond a quick win to really show up for others in the long haul? Investing in long-term relationships takes patience, but it's worth every bit of energy. Because in the end, the people you have built trust with, they're the ones who will always have your back. So there you have it. The 5 key changes I made to boost my influence. These aren't quick fixes, I recognize that, but they are long shifts in mindsets and behavior, all grounded in human skills that will help you, though, to connect more deeply with others, become a true leader, no matter your role or position. If you found these tips useful, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who could benefit from it. And if you have any thoughts, challenges, or insights on boosting influence, leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.